Yadvandanena mando vivindet guru samanatam. Ya Devi sarva bhuteshu buddhi rupena samsthita. Namastasyai, namastasyai, namastasyai namo namaha. Kadalagi kasindu kandir malgi. Oduvardamai nandirikku vaipadu. Vedam nanginamai purulavadu. Nathan namam namah shivayave. Respected satsang, we are really blessed to have Sri Anna here. We all know about him. He's a Sthita Prajna. As far as I've been seeing him for so many years, it's we are all really blessed. We are going to listen to him today on Atmarpanastuthi by Appayya Dikshitendra about Lord Shiva. Who exactly Lord Shiva is? What is the sambandha, the relationship between the Jivatma and the Paramatma? How we should pray to Lord Shiva exactly. And today we are really blessed to have him here. He had been for the World Hindu Conference at Chicago, and we requested him on behalf of our satsang, and we are really blessed for his acceptance, and let us experience Lord Shiva through Anna. Thank you now for accepting. I request Sri Amriteshwar Bhattar to honor on behalf of the temple.
If some of you can follow, I have taken a few verses and the topic. Har Har Namah Parvati Pataye
Har Har Mahadeva
Gopika Jeevanasmaranam
Govinda Govinda
Janaki Kanta Smaranam Sadguru Swaminaha Yontah Pavishyamavacham Imam Prasuptam Sanjeevayat Tikila Shakti Dharaspadham Na Sahastarana Shravanattvakadin Pranaham Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Kim Gurun Hisvayum Satyaha Prajna Bhakti Vinitayaha Vihiptischa Pajata Sukhim Tam Gurun Pranamamyam. Mahadidam Pramodasthanam यत् आत्मार्पणस्तुतिम् अधिकृत्य वक्तुम् अवकाशः लब्धः इति। I'm extremely delighted to be here on this occasion of some festivities being done on the occasion of Vinayaka Chaturthi. So the title which I proposed a few days back was a beautiful stotra which has been composed by one of the outstanding persons who lived just 3-4 centuries before, called Appayya Dikshitendra. Appayya Dikshitendra was in the southern part of Tamil Nadu. He is a remarkable person because the amount of compositions that he has done is something which is mind-boggling. There are people who compose on a specific topic and one can keep on composing, that is one aspect of scholarship. But Appayya Dikshitendra seems to have excelled in any discipline that he thought of writing. He has composed simple stotras. He has composed work which are considered to be the best in literary composition. Sahitya Shastra. So he has composed commentaries which are considered to be the testing stone of scholarship if you consider Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. He has composed commentaries on other scholars' works. So be it a compilation of what has been done by others, there is an important work which is called Siddhanta Lesha Sangraha. Siddhantanam Leshaha Tasya Sangraha. So this is basically a summary of various schools of thought which are prevalent in Advaita Vedanta, and that is something which is a remarkable work. This is one simple example of how he has been able to comprehend the thought processes of various stalwarts and present it in such a lucid style with precision and brevity. So this is remarkable work if you consider Vedanta. There is another work which he has composed which is called Parimala. So you have heard of Brahma Sutras composed by Badarayana. So Brahma Sutras have a commentary by Shankara. Without Shankara's commentary, one will not be able to penetrate into Brahma Sutras. That has another commentary by someone called Vachaspati Mishra. It is called Bhamati. The title of the commentary is called Bhamati. Bhamati has another commentary called Kalpataru. That is super commentary on Bhamati. On Kalpataru, Appayya Dikshitendra has written something called Parimala. In fact, in Advaita tradition, if someone has mastered Parimala, then he is considered to be the topmost level. Hardly people study Parimala today. So it is such a profound work, gets into the details of various things. So his scholarship is something which is outstanding and extraordinary. And the same thing he will be able to interpret from a different school of thought also. So that is something which is extraordinary of Appayya Dikshitendra. So this Appayya Dikshitendra has also written some stotras, and one of them is called Atmarpanastuthi. There is an interesting anecdote behind this Atmarpanastuthi, so I will mention that before we get into this stotra itself. Appayya, towards the end of his life, wanted to test whether the devotion that he had was quite genuine. So that is the anecdote which goes behind. How does one test? Today we have certain tests, if there are some criminals, if you want to extract the truth out of them, so you inject certain things into them, so that their capacity to discriminate something gets hidden, and whatever is there at the bottom of the mind is just spelled out by them. I think it's called narcotic test. So analysis. So this is what is done. Similarly, Appayya wanted to test himself, and therefore he told his students to present something in crushed form so that he takes it in. And in that state, whatever comes out should be what is there in the bottom of his heart, is not something which is done by consciously pretending oneself. Right? So that is what the story goes, and that is why it is also called Unmatta Panchashat. So Panchashat is basically something which contains 50. Unmatta is a state wherein one doesn't use his own intellect in a discriminatory manner. So it just hide it. So Unmatta Panchashat, this seems to have been emerging out of his mouth in that state. So this is how the stotra seems to have come. If you look at Bhagavatam, there are 9 types of bhaktis which are listed out. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. So this Atmanivedanam is what is hinted in the title Atmarpanam. So Atmarpanastuthi is a shining example of the kind of devotion which is referred to by Atmanivedanam in Bhagavatam. This Appayya scholarship has also been extolled by another interesting verse. It goes like this. Appayya Dikshitendra Ashesha Vidyagurun Namasyamaha Yatkriti Bodha Bodhau Vidvad Avidvad Vibhajako Padhi. What does it state? So, let me offer my venerations unto Appayya Dikshita's Padaravinda. How is he? Ashesha Vidya Gurun Namasyamaha. So, the qualifier that has been used here, Ashesha Vidya Guru. Vidya, Shesha Vidya, Ashesha Vidya. So, Ashesha Vidya refers to all disciplines. This is what I was trying to convey. So, scholarship is normally confined to one particular discipline. So nowadays, if the doctor looks into eye, there itself you will have some 20 specialists. So you will look into this part, you will look into that part. So this is how things are done. So in a very, very specialized manner. So here, he is described as Ashesha Vidya Guru. If you look into Appayya's Parimala, so you will be really wonderstruck whether he is a scholar of Mimamsa, or he is a scholar of Nyaya, or he is a scholar of Vedanta, or he is a great poet, etc. So that is why he is described as Ashesha Vidya Guru. His work in Sahitya called Kuvalayananda is really amazing work. So Ashesha Vidya Gurun Namasyamaha. Having stated this, they say Yatkriti Bodha Bodhau Vidvad Avidvad Vibhajako Padhi. So what does it mean? The capacity to comprehend his work or otherwise should be considered as the testing stone whether he should be considered as a scholar or otherwise. Yatkriti Bodha Abodha. Bodha is comprehension, understanding. Abodha is non-understanding. Yatkriti Bodha Bodhau Vidvad Avidvad Vibhajaka Upadhi. So that is the kind of scholarship which has been exhibited by Appayya Dikshitendra. So I have listed a few verses, and these have been put into the sheets. So we will try to see how many of them we will be able to cover. Some selected verses. So those of you can follow, can keep following this. There is an interesting commentary which I happened to just see. So today things are available in soft form. So I was just looking into one of the files which have been downloaded. There I found this. So some commentary has been authored on this Atmarpanastuthi itself, and it is called Bhavalesha Prakasha, and it has been written by Shankar Narayana. So there he brings out the glory of Appayya before commencing his commentary. So that is the first verse that you find in the printed sheet. Bharadvaja kulam budhau samuditaha purnah kalabhis sada sevyo neka kavishwarir budhavaraihi tatvarthabodhashrutihi Shri Shambho Ramatam Shumurtiraparaha Yasham Bhavanandadaha Srimad Appayya Dikshito Vijayate Tirnabdhi Chudamani Bharadvaja Kulam Budhau Samuditaha. So this Gotra of Appayya Dikshita is being stated. Ambudhihi means samudra. Ambu is water, dhi is reservoir, ambudhihi, udadhihi, jaladhihi. Bharadvaja kulam budhau samuditah purnaha kalabhihi. So this verse has been written in a meter. It's called Shardula Vikriditam. Bharadvaja kulam budhau samuditah purnah kalabhihi. So we have this description in Puranas wherein the Chandra seems to have come out of the ocean. So similarly, this Appayya Dikshitendra is described as someone who has come out of this ocean of Bharadvaja Kula. Understand? So those who have come out, so they have just come out like a moon, so beautiful. Kulam budhau samuditaha purnah kalabhihi. This has two layers of meaning. One is, as a Chandra, the full moon, purnaha, kalabhih purnaha, the moon, full moon, so it is beautiful. So this is one listing. The other thing that you can think of is kalabhih purnaha, all the Chatushashti kala. Kala, you can take it as purnaha, he is an embodiment of the knowledge. Kalabhih purnaha sada sevyaha. Sevyaha is the one who has to be sought after. The one who has to be sought after is sevyaha. Why? By whom? So that is what is being stated. The next quarter, aneka and sevyo neka kavishwaraihi budhavaraihi. So whether you need to excel in your literary merits, scholarship, or you want to excel in other shastras, so budhavaraihi, Buddha himself refers to a wise man. The wisest among them should also approach. Because there is nothing which is comparable to the kind of somebody that he has presented in Siddhanta, etc. Because various schools, various acharyas were there at a given point of time. And these acharyas, they present something and many of these works get lost also. This is something which is remarkable in development. So there are various scholars which come. See, today we have some medium of recording and storage. But then the medium of storage was only intellect in those days. So if there is a tradition which has been carried out by the scholars, and it is only through mouth-to-mouth transmission, and if that tradition is lost, that is particularly lost. So therefore, what he has done is a great service of presenting various schools of thought in Advaita Vedanta, approaching the same problem. So that is the kind of work that he has done. That is why he is saying Budhavaraihi, Kavishwaraihi, Sevyaha. So to derive his grace, obtain his grace, to obtain that particular knowledge, etc. Tatvartha bodha shruti. Why? Tatvartha bodha shruti. Shruti refers to Veda itself. Now there is a beautiful metaphor here. So the metaphor here is, he himself is an embodiment of Veda if you want to understand Tatvartha. Tatvartha bodha shruti. Bodhanam is understanding. See, jnana. So in presenting it, he is comparable to Shruti himself. Okay. Or bodhane Shrutihi. Okay. So either way you can. Shri Shambho Amrutamshu Murtiraparaha. Therefore he says, so he is none other than Parameshwara himself. Aparaha Murti means he is an embodiment in human form. Murtiraparaha Yashambhavanandadaha. In fact, he has composed works which has to do with what is called Shivadvaita, the Kashmiri. So that is also something which is to be understood. So whether you want to present the work in terms of Vishishtadvaita viewpoint, he will be able to do, and he will be the excellent master in that. If you want to present the same thing from a Shivadvaita viewpoint, he will be able to do. If pure Advaita viewpoint, he will be able to do. So that is something which is astounding. So the kind of scholarship. That's why he is saying, and particularly Shambhavanandadaha Srimad Appayya Dikshito Vijayate Tirnaha Bhichudamani. Okay, so with this introduction, we will get into the stotra itself, Atmarpanastuthi. So I'll render the verse, you repeat, then we will discuss the meaning one by one. Kaste buddhum prabhavati param devadeva prabhavam yasmaditham vividharachana srishtiresha babhuva bhaktigrahyastvamiha tadapi Yastvamiha tadapi Tvamaham bhaktimatrat Stotum vanchamyati mahadidam Sahasam me sahasva Kaste buddhum prabha. In fact, this is composed in a meter which is called Mandakranta. So Mandakranta is a very beautiful meter in Sanskrit. We heard of Meghaduta. Meghaduta is a beautiful kavya which is being composed by Kalidasa. So that is entirely in Mandakranta. This will have 17 syllables per quarter. Kaste buddhum. After 4, after 6, you will find a Vicheda. Kaste buddhum prabhavati param deva deva prabhavam. So Mandakranta goes. There is a pause at 4 and then at 6. Kaste buddhum prabhavati. Bodhum prabhavati. Bodhum means to understand. Okay, to comprehend. Bodhum. Bodhaha is jnana. Bodhum prabhavati. So who will be able to comprehend? This is the question. Te is addressing Ishvara. Te prabhavam kaha bodhum prabhavati. Who will be able to entirely comprehend your glory? Kaste buddhum prabhavati param devadeva prabhavam. Why is he saying so? He says, Yasmaditham vividharachana srishtiresha babhuva. Itham vividharachana. Rachana is basically creation. Rachana is creation. So Srishtihi Esha. So the entire creation that you are able to see in front of you is something which has been done by someone. Vivitham Vividha Rachana. Vividha Rachana. So it is something which is completely incomprehensible. So you see, if you just think of how the coconut water enters, that sweet water enters into the coconut. Where does it go and how does it get formed? So if you think of 1,000 varieties of mangoes, everything, the moment you get deeply thinking into it, so we don't understand. Of course, we will understand how this micro amplifier works. So these are creations which keep happening on a day-to-day basis. So the moment you think of the various things in the world, it's just mind-boggling. So certain properties just get related, so day-to-day something nano, micro, so various things keep looking into. So he's just saying, Yasmaditham vividharachana srishtihi yesha babhuva. Yasmat babhuva means from whom it gets derived. All that we are trying to do is, in certain areas, we are trying to temper the potential by trying to mix certain things, put things together. So today the waves are able to transmit something, so we are able to immediately see something. So these are things which we keep on trying to invent. So there are certain properties which are available and we are trying to explore those properties and try to make use of them. This is the human endeavor which goes on. But we will not be able to create the sweetness in mango or a flavor in mango, that we will not be able to do. Artificially we may try to create. So to some extent we can succeed in certain things. But these are given to us. So therefore, if one thinks of the kind of properties that are present, so that really makes one bewildered. So that's why he's saying Yasmaditham vividharachana. So this Yasmat refers to the source of it. So it can be an instrumental cause, it can be some other cause, whatever be the kind of cause. So you are responsible for that. Yasmaditham vividharachana srishtiresha babhuva. So that entity, how do you comprehend? So here he says, bhaktigrahya tvamiha tadapi tvamaham bhaktimatrat. So the one thing which makes us understand to some extent, appreciate this, is a certain devotion. So it is only through devotion that I will be able to comprehend this bhaktigrahyastvamiha tadapi tvamaham bhaktimatrad stotum vanchami. So I would like to offer my venerations unto you. So through expressing my devotion in the form of this stotra, but to describe the glory of you is something which is beyond my capacity, and therefore he says, Sahasam me sahasva. Sahasa is something which we try to do without thinking whether you are capable of doing or not. Sahasam me sahasva. Next. Kshityadinam avayavatam nishchitam janmatavat tannahastyeva kvachana kalitam kartradhisthanahinam Nadhishtatum prabhavati jadaha napyanishascha bhavaha tasmad adyastvamasi jagatam natha jane vidhata. Kshityadinam avayavatam nishchitam janma tavat. This is something which is very interesting. So from the viewpoint of establishing the existence of some entity which is described by the term Ishvara. Kshityadinam avayavavatam. Avayava means parts. Avayavavatam janma. Janma means utpatti, creation. So this microphone which I am able to see in front of me has various parts. So these parts have been put together. So various things put together in a particular form, it exhibits a certain property. Now, this putting together is something which has been done by a person who is sentient. It may be a machine, but that machine is working based on some sort of a certain character which has been imposed upon it by a human being. Anyway. So, Kshityadinam avayavavatam, he says, so anything that you find which has a part, so there is a certain logic, and it goes on in great detail in Nyaya texts. So there they try to establish the existence of Ishvara based on certain anumana, and that anumana is what he is trying to present here in this Kshityadinam avayavavatam, certain inference, detailed discussion which goes on. Nishchitam janma. Janma nishchitam means it is something which has been created by a certain human being. These things which we see here. And if you just think of this universe itself, so then you think of a certain creator for that. So that is why he is saying this is all avayavavan. Avayavavan. Kshityadihi. So Prithvi has various avayava. And anything that you build is only from Prithvi and not from elsewhere. Avayavavatam nishchitam janmatavat tannahasteva kvachanakalitam kartradhisthanahinam. Karta, adhisthana. There are two things. Karta is the one, suppose you consider this ring, so this golden ring. So adhishthanam is gold. The one who created this form is goldsmith. He is karta. Karta and adhishthanam, this will be there in every entity that you think of. Suppose we get lemon rice here as prasadam. So there is some karta and there is some adhishthanam. Kartradhisthanahinam. It cannot be there without karta and adhishthanam. Nadhishtatum prabhavati jadaha napyanishascha bhavaha. So this thing requires a certain chaitanya into it. Merely jada cannot get something which is there. Napyani, not only that, he says anishascha bhavaha. So anyone who creates something should possess the knowledge of what has to be mixed in what proportion. So here, this Jagat itself exhibits various properties. So and therefore, he is someone who has to be a sarvajna in order to get this in this particular form. So that is the kind of thought which goes in when he says, na yanishascha bhavaha. Tasmad adyastvamasi jagatam natha jane vidhata. So I conceive you of that primordial entity which is responsible for this manifest universe that I am able to see in front of me. So this is the second verse. Then third one. Tvam vedantair vividha mahima Iyase vishvanetaha Tvam vipradyair varadanikhilaihi Ijyase karmabhisvaihi Tvam dishtanushravika vishayanandamatra vitrishnaihi Tvam dishtanushravika श्रविकविषयानन्दमात्रा कृष्णै अन्तर्ग्रन्थि प्रविलयकृते चिन्त्यसे योगिवृन्दैः त्वं वेदान्तैः विविधमहिमा गीयसे विश्वनेतः. Vishwanetah is the addressing word. Neta is someone who leads. So Neta is the leader. Vishwanetah means the leader of the entire world. So there is a certain order which you see in the world, and this order is something which has been established by the primordial force. So therefore he is described as Vishwanetah. So this order, so that is why he is using the phrase Vedantaihi Giyase. Giyase means your glory is being sung even in Vedanta. If you look at certain passages in Upanishads, we have this, even Taitreya, Bhishasman Svatah Pavati, Bhishodeti Suryaha, Bhishasmadagnischendrascha, Mrityurdhavati Panchamayiti, etc. So these are the passages that he has in his mind. So therefore he says, Tvam Vedantaihi Vividhamahima Giyase. So the glory is being sung by even Vedantic texts in various forms. Vishwanetaha Bhishasmad Vatah Pavati Bhishodeti Suryaha. So even these entities so are run by you. So that's what he is saying. Vishwa, therefore he is described as Vishwanetaha. So various people keep doing various activities in various ways. Even our Vairava Bhatta was saying. So for this institution to function, so there are various activities which have to be carried out, and these are given to various people, right? So you undertake this, I take that. So this is what is being done. As far as Vishwa is concerned, so he is the Neta. So various things are being done various ways. So he is saying that force which is responsible for every action that is happening. So that is what he is conceiving of. Vishwanetaha. So presence is sufficient. Vishwanetaha. Then he says, Tum vipragyaihi varadanikhilaihi ijyase karma bhisvaihi nikhilaihi vipragyaihi. So suppose you see Vinayaka Chaturthi event. So 10 days before, 1 week before, we start certain ahutis, etc. We do yajnas. So that is what he is referring to. Ijyase. So Ijyase karmabhihi svaihi. So various karmas are being done by various people, vipras, varada. So in order to propitiate and get certain things which is granted by you. Tum vipragir vividha varada nikhilaihi ijyase karmabhisvaihi. Tvam trishtanushrivike vishayanandamatra vitrishnaihi. There are various kinds of people in this world. Different people choose different paths. So some people get engaged in performing certain yajnas. Some people get engaged deeply in singing bhajans. Some people get engaged in seriously in certain other activities. So here he is referring to people who have sort of transcended all this, so who don't seek. In the previous line, if you see, Varada is the word which has been used. So Varam Dadati Varadaha. So Vara is something that is being sought after by you, and the one who blesses you with this is called Varada. So Varam Dadati. So for achieving a certain success in certain things, so you try to propitiate that particular force to bless you. to take care of certain variables which are unknown to you. So here, having said that, there are people who have transcended all this and they don't have any seeking at all. So that is something which is quite remarkable. So that is not a state which is so easily achieved by people. And those group of people are referred to in the third quarter of the verse. He says, Drishtanushravika Vishayanandamatra Vidrishnaihi. There is something called Drishtananda. So you initially have some Suzuki car, then you think of some BMW, then you think of something else. So these are certain comforts which are being provided by this vehicle. So you want to go one after the other. So this is called Drishtananda. There is a comfort in driving this car. There is a comfort in driving something else. There is something more. So this is Drishtananda. So then he says, Anushravika Anandaha. So certain things which are not here but which are described to be available in certain other lokas. So those who are untouched by this, those who are not tempted by this, so that is what he is referring to. Drishta Anushravika Ananda Vishaya, Vishayananda. Vishayananda is an Ananda which is derived by contact of the sense organ with a certain entity which is outside you. So there is a certain Ananda which you can experience within yourself. And in fact, if you get deeply into this process, you will realize that even these Vishayanandas are essentially an Ananda, a reflection of the Ananda inside. So this has been so nicely analyzed by deep thinkers. So they say that even the Vishayananda that you can think of is only a reflection of a certain Ananda which is inside you. How do you try to justify this? You justify by saying that this Ananda which is being experienced by us during the sleep state is something which is not derived by contact of any sense organs. But the experience is, I slept happily. So let us set it aside. The other way of looking at it is, so if you think of having something, there are people whom I have seen that if they decide that they have to go on Sunday somewhere and then have this food elsewhere or see something, so till that is accomplished, so this fellow will be quite disturbed. So if something gets hindered, he will become unhappy. The one who is responsible for that will be the object of his anger. So all that will happen. Now, what is happening? Suppose whatever he desires is fulfilled. Then what these thinkers say is, the moment that particular desire is fulfilled and before some other desire comes and drives you, that is the period in which you feel happy. So the moment something else comes and occupies your mind, so this happiness which you experienced completely disappears. So what is the source of happiness now? Is it possessing that entity or is it absence of some other desire? So we have to necessarily accept that possessing this entity, even if there is some other desire, if you derive happiness, or some other thing which occupies your mind, if you still have the happiness, then you can say that it is out of this. But that is not the case, as we know. So when you have the same comfort, In fact, there is a beautiful verse in Ramayana. It goes like this. Valmiki Ramayana verses are very simple, and he is described as Adi Kavi. In fact, it is described as Adi Kavya. So if you look at the beauty of the Kavya, the words may be simple, but the thoughts are very profound there, and the descriptions are really amazing. So those who have learned a little bit of Sanskrit, I would strongly recommend you reading Valmiki Ramayana. It's a sheer beauty, and you will appreciate various things, worldly wisdom, moral values, all that you will get. They will be an outcome of your reading if you start enjoying them. So there, both as a kavya as well as something, a source of niti. So to enjoy the literary beauty, to imbibe moral and ethical values, so all that, and to build a certain courage how to handle various situations. So all that is available there. So in one place, Rama says, Yanyeva Ramaniyani Tvaya Saha Bhavanti Me Tanye Varamaniyani Tvam Vina Pratibhanti Me. So this is a beautiful description of the poet, of the state of mind of Rama. So Rama says, Yanyeva Ramaniyani. Ramaniya is something which captures your heart. Yanyeva Ramaniyani. That which snatches away your heart is Ramaniya. That is so beautiful. So thinking of the Viraha of Sita, he says, the same entities I am seeing here now, which seem to be a source of pleasure for me, have become a source of pain for me now. Yanyeva Ramaniyani Tvaya Saha Bhavanti Me Tanye Varamaniyani Tvam Vina Pratibhanti Me. So now, if this entity were really the source of happiness, then those entities are available even when Sita was lost. They were not able to derive joy out of them. So here, that is what he means by saying, Drishtanushravika Vishayananda Matra Trishnaihi, means those people who have thought over deeply on these issues, and those who are not tempted to go after things one after the other, to derive pleasure, joy, etc. They are described as Vitrishnaihi. Trishna is certain greed, desire, deep desire. Okay? So desire which has gone beyond boundary is generally called Trishna. So Vishayananda Matra Vitrishnaihi. So those who have crossed this, Antargranthi Pravilaya Krite Chintyase Yogi Vrindaihi. So here there are three classes of people. So he is first quarter, second quarter, and the third and the fourth quarters. Yogi Vrindaihi. Vrinda means Samuha. Okay, Yogi Vrinda. So there are certain yogis who have transcended all these temptations, and they are not bound by these desires. And Antargranthi Pravilaya Krite. See, Antargranthi. Granthi is a certain bondage which we experience inside. Antargranthi. So Granthi which is inside, not externally available. So Pravilaya Krite. Pravilaya is for its destruction. Okay. Antargranthi Pravilaya Krite Chintyase Yogi Vrindaihi. So Tvam. So this entity, so whether they worship in this particular form, with this particular name, or they keep on describing in Vedanta in a certain form. Oh, what is this form, etc., etc. Or those who keep on contemplating in a different way, not being tempted by these. So you are that entity. In whichever form you are shaped, so you are that. That's what he is saying. Read this. Tvam Vedantair Vividha Mahima Giyase Vishwanetaha Tvam Vipradyair Varadanikhilaihi Ityase Karma Bhisvaihi Tvam Drishtanashravike Vishayanandamatra Vidrishnaihi Antargranthi Pravilaya Krite Chintyase Yogi Bandaihi Utpadyapi Smarahara Mahatyuttamanam Utpadyapi Smarahara Mahatyuttamanam Kulesmin Asvahadyatvan Mahima Jalathe Apyaham Shikaranun Tvatpadarcha Vimukha Hridayaha Chapaladindriyanam Vyagrastucheshvaha Jananam Vyarthayam Yesha Papaha. Yeah, the time to watch to Utpadya Pismarahara. Smarahara is the addressing word that he uses. He Smarahara. What is Smarahara? So Smaraha is the word used to describe Manmatha, the god of love. Smarahara. Okay? So once he attacks you, your mind will always be thinking of that entity. So therefore, so Smarahara. Utpadya Pismarahara Mahatyuttamanam Kulesmin Asvadyatvan Mahima Jalathe Apyaham Shikaranun. There are people who didn't have the opportunity to think of higher values in life. There are creatures who are not blessed with the kind of discrimination that we are blessed with. So we find all varieties of living beings in the world. So this person is supposed to be endowed with the capacity to discriminate what is good, what is wrong, and so on. He says, Utpadya Pismarahara. By some fortune, I have been born in a particular group and I am endowed with a certain knowledge, so to think of certain other things, other values in life and so on. Utpadya Pismarahara Mahatyuttamanam Kulesmin Asvadyatvan Mahima Jalathe Apyaham Shikaranun. Mahima Jalathe. So I have been able to appreciate the glory of you. It is very important to understand that this particular thought process is extremely useful for us to suppress the ego. So ego, all said and done, is one of the worst things that this person can possess. So ahankara, mamakara. So as you are able to suppress more and more, you are able to raise yourself to higher levels. So here, Tvan Mahima Jalathe. So this is one way of easily trying to transcend the ego. So this is your anugraha, your anugraha, your anugraha. Here, Tvan Mahima Jalathehe Shikaranun. So Anun, some specks of this Mahima, by virtue of gaining this knowledge, etc., by virtue of appreciating these things by way of getting trained to think along these lines, I have been able to do. So one can be born as any entity in this Jagat. So I have been born as a human being, and I have also had the opportunity to gain knowledge in various areas. So therefore he says, in spite of all this, Utpadyapi, Smarahara. Smarahara is addressing word. Mahatyuttamanangulesmin asvadyatvan. Asvadya means having tasted. Having tasted this. Asvadyatvan mahima jalathe apyaham shikaranun. Tvat padarcha vimukha hridayaha. Tvat padarcha vimukha hridayaha. So I am not able to engage myself in doing some archana for you. Tvat padarcha vimukha hridayaha. So vimukha is someone who is moving away in a different direction. Tvat padarcha vimukha hridayaha. Sumukha this Vinayaka, I think we should do that. See, for one sloka at least we should do this. Vinayaka Chaturthi. The first verse is a very beautiful verse. That is listing the name. Vinayaka Pancharatna. Udakarattamodakam sada vimukti sadhakam kaladharavatam sakam vilasilogarakshakam. Vinashite bhadaityakam natashubhashunashakam namagitam. Mudakaratta modakam is a very beautiful thing. So mudakaratta modakam. Muda means with great happiness. So muda means with great happiness. Karatta modakam. Kare means in his hands. Modakam. Modakam literally means that which gives you pleasure. In fact, we have words Anando Modaf Pramodaha. There are levels of happiness are described as Ananda, Moda, Pramoda. So Modakam is that which is able to generate happiness. Mudakaratta Modakam is having an entity in his hand to share with you so that you become happy. And he is doing with great sense of happiness. Whenever you do, so you have to do it by enjoying yourself. So here, Mudakara. One is physical description. There is a Modaka, sweet ball. Okay. So Mudakaratta Modakam can be understood as a physical expression. Okay. Having ball in his one hand, sweet ball. The other way you can think of is, in a more general sense, the one who is willing to share the joy with others by blessing them with the joy. Sada vimukti sadhakam. Sada vimukti sadhakam. See, vimukti sadhakam. This also can be understood in two different levels. So he is described as the one who is responsible for you to get away with all the difficulties that come on the way of whatever you are pursuing. So getting away with this is what is vimukti. Mukti is freedom. So freedom from the various afflictions which come on the way, difficulties which come on the way. And Vimukti is Visheshataha Mukti. In fact, the previous verse, whatever we saw, only when you try to pursue something will you have difficulties. If there is nothing to pursue, so then there is no question of difficulties. Anything that comes to you is okay with you. So that is a different kind of thing. So that Vimukti Sadhakam, you can conceive it to be elevating people to that state wherein they are not affected by whatever happens. Sada Vimukti Sadhakam Kaladharavatam Sakam. Kaladharaha. What is Kaladhara? Kalam Dharatiti Kaladharaha. Somewhere we have this word. Purnama. This one. Kalabhis Sada. So, Samudita Purnah Kalabhis Sada. Kala basically refers to a crescent. So, Kalam Dharatiti Kaladharaha. Kaladharasya avatamsakaha. Putraha, the one who gives enormous happiness to him. Vilasi loka rakshakam. Vilasi loka rakshakam. Vilasi loka rakshakam. What does it mean? Rakshakam means one who protects. Loka rakshakam protects the world. World means lokas, those who dwell in the world. Loka can actually mean people who dwell in the world. It can refer to the world itself, depending on the context in which. Vilasi loka rakshakam can be understood in two ways. One who playfully protects the worlds. The other way, if you club Vilasi with Loka, so those who are not in the path, those who keep on moving away as they like, so he tries to save them and bring them to fold. Okay? Vilasi Loka, as we do children, suppose, so this fellow who is going to school, so has an exam tomorrow. But this fellow keeps engaging with his mobile, with his iPad. So all the time he spends time. So then it is our duty to draw his attention. No, don't do this now. There is an interesting thing which happened. I went to some part in the southern globe, in one's house. So there was a discussion that this boy who is in 9th grade or so, he is not studying well, and therefore his grandparents who lived nearby were engaged in studying. So I asked his father, so why is he not doing, what is he doing, shall we see him? I was just curious, I was in their residence. So he just said, let us go and see in his room what he does. So this is the grandmother had just left, who was a school teacher. So and tomorrow is the exam. So he said, so let's go and see what he's doing. Okay. So we went to his room, because children have separate rooms here. So this, I went to, along with him. He opened the door, and there was a big screen in which he was sort of playing something. Then he called him. Hey, you have a biology exam. So he said, I was shocked by this. He said, so why are you asking me this? Said, because you have an exam tomorrow. No, why are you concerned about it? Then said, either I am your father. Then this person said, "You are into my room now." So the message was, you are not supposed to enter your room. So then he said, this is how he says. So let us move. We went. This is a real incident which happened in Singh. So I was wonderstruck. There is nothing like our room, your room. All of us live in one room. Vilasi Loka Rakshakam. So Vilasi Loka means those who engage, so the way they get prompted with. So we can't just go by the prompts that we get. So that is where the discrimination has to come. And if it does not come, then we only pray. So the response is instantaneous. How you respond depends on how you have trained yourself. So sometimes we are able to do this, sometimes we are not able to do this. And when we are not able to do this, we surrender ourselves. So Vilasi Loka Rakshakam Anayakaikanayakam Anayakanam Yekanayakaha. So what does it mean? Anayakaha means for whom there is no leader, which means you are the leader, right? So Anayaka, Vinayaka also literally means. So Vigataha, Nayakaha, Yasmat Saha. So Vinayakaha. Anayaka, Ekanayaka. So here you can think of various deities who are having various portfolios for which they are the leaders. It is like CTO, CFO and so on. So he is the head of that particular unit. And there is one managing director maybe there who is above all. It is something like this. Anayakai nayakam vinashite bhadaityakam. So ibhadaityakam. Daitya is asura. Vinashita ibhadaityakam. Ibha means elephant. Vinashite bhadaityakam. Nata shubha shunashakam. So there is a beautiful prasa here, alliteration. Nata shubha shunashakam. Natanam ashubha nashakaha. Nata means those who surrender. Those who submit their ego, they are called natas. Nata shubha shunashakam. Natanam ashubha nashakam. Nata shubha shunashakam. Namami tam vinayakam. So this sumukha, here he is doing vimukha. That's where we were taken away. So he is described as sumukha. In fact, only through this blessing we also become sumukha. Sumukha is the one who has pleasant looks. The one who has pleasant looks. So only when all the difficulties or obstructions are gone, so we will have sumukha. Otherwise it will be a durmukha. Here, tvatpadarcha vimukha hridayaha chapala indriyanam. Why is he saying archa vimukha? The reason is being stated here. Chapala indriyanam. Indriyanam chapala. So chapala is temptation. So the temptations that are being brought by these sense organs, so they try to drive me away. So instead of disciplining myself, engaging in doing something, they shatter my attention. Therefore, he says, Chapala indriyanam yagrastucheshu. As this boy was doing, all the time playing a game. Tucheshu Vyagraha. So Vyagra literally means completely married with that, completely engaging, totally getting entangled into that. Vyagras Tucheshu. Tuchha refers to unworthy things. Vyagras Tucheshu. Ahaha is an expression of exclamation. Ha. In spite of being blessed with all these things, when I look back, how is it that I have been so cheap? Vyagras Tucheshu. Ahaha Jananam Vyarthayam Yesha Papaha. Jananam Vyarthayami. Jananam is this birth itself. So this birth is something which is really worthy of making use of it to its full potential, because we have the capacity to decide how we have to be. So we can program ourselves in such a way that you will be able to really contribute to the world. And therefore he says, Ahaha Jananam Virthayam Yesha Papaha. Arkadrona Prabhriti Kusumaihi Archanante Vidheyam Prapyam Tena Smarahara Phalam Moksha Samrajya Lakshmi Etajjanannapi Shiva Shiva Vyarthayan Kalamatman Atmadrohi Karana Vivashaha Uyasadhav Patami Bhuyasa adhav patami. Adhav patami means I keep falling down. Okay? It's a metaphorical usage. Bhuyasa adhav patami. Why are you doing so? Karana vivashaha. Karana is a term which is used to refer to any instrument. So if you chop vegetables, so the knife is your karana. So that is a karana. Your hand is also a certain karana. There are various kinds of karanas which go into. Atmadrohi karana vivashaha. So this person is described as an enemy for himself. When is he enemy for himself? When he is unable to exercise control over his sense organs. As long as you are able to exercise control over your sense organs, then you are not a drohi. Otherwise you are a drohi. Therefore he says, Atmadrohi. So, instead of trying to accomplish great things, you try to engage in mean things. So therefore he says, Atmadrohi karana vivashaha bhuyasadhav patami. Once you let a slip happen, you will keep on slipping. So this is something which is extremely important to realize, and therefore to see that you don't let this slip happen in the first stage. Arkadrona Prabhati Kusumaihi Archanante Vidheyam. Why should you do this archana? You should do this archana just because you are blessed with what you are already blessed with. You don't need to do for any other reason. So understand that I have been blessed with all these sense organs functioning, all these motor organs functioning. So I have a handful of food to eat. I have a shelter to live. So all these are blessed. There are trillions of people who are not blessed with. Therefore, he says, to recognize what you have been blessed with, you have to just do this. Arkadrona prakriti kusumaihi archanante vidheyam prapyam tena smarahara phalam moksha samrajya lakshmi. So through this, so you will raise yourself to higher levels and ultimately moksha samrajya lakshmi. So you will be able to achieve that. Yeta janannapi. In spite of doing this, Shiva Shiva vyarthayan kalamatman. Vyarthayan kalam. I just while away time. Nowadays, if you go and train, you don't need to go and train. You just have to walk in the road. So people have something in their hand. So they don't look at who is coming in front of you. So most of the things that we see is all meaningless things. So here, vyarthayan kalamatman, whiling away time. Many things which are unwanted. Vyarthayan kalamatman atmadrohi karanavivashaha priyasathah padami. The next verse is a very beautiful verse. Kimba kurve vishama vishayas vairi kimba kurve vishama vishayas vairina vairina vishama vishayas vairina vairina baddhasvamin vapushi hridaya granthina sardhamasmin granthina sardhamasmin Ukshnādarpajvara bharajusha Sākamekatra nadha Shramyan vatsaha Smarahara yuge Dhavata kinkarotu. This is where you can really taste the flavor of the poet in Appayya. Really beautiful poetry. He says, Kimva kurve. Kimva kurve is something which many of us experience at various instances. What do I do? Kimva kurve is an expression of one's helplessness in a certain situation. It is a phrase like this. Kurve, I do. Kimva kurve, what do I do? Okay. Kimva kurve. Why is he saying so? So he is expressing his helplessness in a beautiful form by a certain imagery. Here if you see, the same set of letters keep repeating. Svairina, Vairina. They are all poetic beauties. They don't mean one and the same, but they form part of different words. Sometimes the same phrase can repeat, sometimes some other tag to it can repeat. Svairi is a word which is used in Sanskrit to refer to someone who can function independently. Okay. Svairi, Swachhanda Pravritti, Svairina. The next word is Vairina. Vairi is enemy. Okay. Svairina, Vairina. That enemy, of course, obviously does not take permission from you. So here, this fellow is not supposed to be an enemy, but he acts as an enemy. So what is it? Vishama Vishayasvairina Vairinaham Baddha. Vishameshu Vishayeshu Svairina Vairina Baddha. Baddha means I am tied. I am tied. I am tied by this fellow. Where Vishama Vishaya. Vishaya is an object with which you associate. So Shabda is a Vishaya, Sparsha is a Vishaya, Rupa is a Vishaya, all are Vishayas. That which becomes an object of your perception is a Vishaya. So here he says Vishama Vishayeshu. Vishama Vishaya is something which is taking you into wrong directions. So Sama Vishaya, odd. Vishama means odd. Okay? So odd things are coming means, you don't like. So it is used, odd is used in the sense of something which you are not desiring for. Vishama Vishayasvairina Vairinaham. So this Vishama Vishayas come and snatch away my objects which are supposed to be engaged. So they snatch away. These Indriyas are supposed to engage in a particular way in particular things. But these objects come and snatch away. So therefore he says Vishama Vishayas Vairina Vairina. And they just come and capture. Svairina Vairinaham Baddhasvamin Vapushi Hridaya Grathina Sarthamasmin. In the later half, he gives a beautiful simile. Ukshna Darpajvara Bharajusha Sakamekatra Nadha. Vapushi means in this body. Vapuhu is this Shariram. So he says, these Indriyas which are trying to drag away from right things are along with me in this Sharira. And who am I? So if you read the later half and come back to the first half, you will appreciate better. He says, Ukshna Darpajvara Bharajusha Sagamekatra Nadhaha Shramyan Vatsaha Smarahara Yuge Dhavata Kinkarotu. Vatsaha means cough. Vatsaha is cough. Okay. Shramyan Vatsaha. So this cough is suffering. Why is this cough suffering? Ukshna Nadhaha. Ukshan. Ukshna means along with Kalaman, ox. What is the other? Only ox? Ox is the only one. Bull. Okay. This bull. So this bull, which is intoxicated and so wild. So that's what he is describing. Darpajvara Bharajusha. So Darpajvara Bharajusha. Okay. So the fever of Darpa. So these bulls, particularly when you see, when they are triggered, it will be completely uncontrollable. So it is that state of that bull which is being referred to. Darpajvara Bharajusha. He says he is imagining a situation in which you have tied on the same yoke this intoxicated bull and this small calf. Okay? Yuge. Yuga has various meanings. Here it is referring to that particular, Gramathwatan. Only when you see in villages, Bullock. So that will be a rod in front. Okay? So that is what is called Yuga. So in which things are put. Yujyate asmin. Okay? So Yuge Nadhaha Vatsaha Ukshna Darpajvara Bharajusha Sagam Yekatra. And this bull goes as he likes. This calf doesn't know what to do. So the calf which is being tied is compared to this entity, this fellow, his heart. So whereas the bulls is the indriyas which are taking away. So both of them are tied into one sharira. You understand? So this bull acts as it likes. This calf is seeking for something else but unable to do anything. See? Shramyan vatsaha. So this fellow is less suffering. See, there are people who have given to certain habits. They are unable to trace back. So when you talk to them, they appreciate, understand that they should not do. So I have interacted with rickshaw pullers also, and I have talked to people who are occupying certain big positions in companies. If they are given into certain habits, that is why he was saying, before you fall, you try to protect. So Ukshna Bhuyasadhav Patami means once you start falling, you will just keep on falling. Ukshna Darpajvara Bharajusha Sagamegatra Nadhaha Shramyan Vatsaha Smarahara Yuge Dhavata Kinkarotu. Similarly, Baddhaha Swamin Vapushi Hridaya Granthina Sardham Asmin. So in this Sharira, this is my state. So what do? He says, of course he will just say they are the only rescue. So we'll just read one or two verses and then we'll wind up. Sarvam Ksheptum Prabhavati Janaha Samsriti Praptamagaha Chetashvasa Prashamasamaye Padabje Nithaya Tasmin Kale Yadi Mama Manaha Nathad Voshatrayartam Prajna Hinam Purahara Bhavet Katham me ghateta Pranotkranti Vyatikaradhalat Pritkanti Sandhibandhe Sharire Prema Vesha Prasaradamita Krandite Bandhuvarge Prema Vesha Prasaradamita Krandite Bandhuvarge Antah Prajnamapi Shiva Bhajan Antarayi Ranantaihi Avidhoham Tvai Kathamimam Arpaishyami Buddhim. Sarvam Ksheptum. So, one is you are able to make use of the discriminating capacity that you are blessed with and thereby you do. But it is not often the case, and that is what is described in the previous verse. And if you have already lost yourself in some path, there is a way which has been prescribed in the scriptures that at least towards the end of your life, if you are able to contemplate on Shiva, particularly there is a certain passage even in Upanishads where it says Yadbhavaha Tadbhavati Antimakshane. So at the time of this prana viyoga, so whatever you think of, you will be able to obtain, etc. So keeping that scripture in his mind, he says, Sarvam Ksheptum Prabhavati Janaha Samsriti Praptam Agaha. Agaha refers to Papa. So Samsriti Praptam means this Agaha is more often than not, so done by this person because of certain association. So samsriti praptam means that which is born out of association, praptam agaha, janaha ksheptum prabhavati. So this is scripture. I agree, I accept. Chetaf prashama samaye, when? Chetaf prashama samaye. Tvatpadabje nidhaya. That is why we have the story of Ajamila, etc. So at the last moment, if you are able to by chance, but that is extremely rare chance. So he says, Chetash prashama samaye, shwasa prashama samaye. When the shwasa terminates, if you are able to do that, then it is true. I accept that is stated in scriptures. Tasmin kale yedi mama manaha natha doshatrayartam prajnahinam purahara bhavet tat katham me ghateta. It may be true, but that particular moment is where you are completely out of your control. So today if you go to hospitals, various things will be plugged in. And it will be there, I don't know whether his mind works at all, we don't even know. Or many days they can keep like this, and where is your thought, what kind of thought which is running in your mind, nobody knows. Whether a thought runs, we don't even know. So here he says, Tasmin kale yadi mama manaha, assume that it is able to do, Tvatpadabje nidhaya, it will be able to do that. But normally doshatrayartam, there are various doshas which come. So starting from Jala dosha, so all doshas will be there. Prajnahinam, in fact this is what is more often than not the case. So your discriminating capacity is completely gone. You go and tell, so I am here, do you recognize me? You don't know. So this is how we see most people, right? Therefore he says, Prajnahinam purahara bhavet tat katham me ghateta. The scriptures do say, and it may be true, but how is it that it is possible that at the last moment I will be able to think of this and I will be able to elevate this? So he says, Pranot kranti vyati garadalat sandhi bandhe sharire. In fact, it is a more graphic description of what happens. So at that moment, sandhi means these joints. Okay, sandhi is basically joint. So a union of two, that's why Sandhya Vandanam means a certain occasion in which two things meet. So there are various flexible parts. Those joints are called sandhi. So you have to replace knee, you have to replace hip, you have to replace various things once they are worn out. And he says, so towards the end of my life, so these joints will start giving me enormous pain. Pranotkanti vyatikara dalat sandhi bandhe. Dalat means almost it will be shattering, splitting pain also. Okay. Vyatikara dalat sandhi bandhe sharire prema. This is one aspect. With respect to my sharira, this is what is happening. On the other hand, what will be happening around you is saying, Prema vesha prasarad amita krandite bandhu varge. Amita. Anisha. Anisha goes. Napyanisha bhava. So Amita, see, Amita bhala. See, Mita means something which is limited. Amita means unlimited. So Amita krandita means, so the cry that is going on is something which is unlimited. See, Amita krandite bandhu varge. So when the relatives keep shouting around me, Prema vesha prasarad amita. The shouting can be in two different ways, right? So if he is a resourceful person, the cry will be different. If he is a person who takes away resources, the cry will be different. So anyway, there is some cry. So he says, Prema vesha prasarat amita krandite bandhu varge. antah prajnamapi Shiva bhajan. So in those moments, how do you expect me to bring back all my sense organs towards my own hridaya and then contemplate upon you? Antah prajnamapi Shiva bhajan antarayir anantaihi. You know antaraya? Vinayaka Stotram தெரியுமா? Antaraya krintanam ridantare nirantaram. Antaraya is basically vighna. So antaha ayati. Okay, that which comes whether you like or not in between. So krintanam is one who severes it. So here he says antarayaihi anantaihi. Anantaihi antarayaihi. So in that situation, avidhoham. See, avidho. Avidhaha means pierced. Recently I was there somewhere, US. Somebody wanted to correct the way he chants Surya Namaskaram. Vidyatanu irukku. He says Vidyat. Vidyat means may you know, may you obtain. Vidyat means may you pierce. Romba spashtama sollu. Vidyat. I said Vidyat. அந்த மாதிரி இங்க avidhoham. Vidha means pierced. He says by various antarayas, obstructions I am pierced. Tvai katham. How is it? Arpayishyami buddhim. How is it possible? So with this last verse we conclude now. Therefore he says, Adyivatvat padanalinayoho. Adyivatvat padanalinayoho. Arpayam yantaratman. Atmahanam me sahaparikarai. Atmahanam me sahaparikarai. Adrikanyadhinatha. Naham bodhum Shiva tava padam. Nakriya yogacharya. Kartum shaknom yanitaragatihi. Kevalam tvam prapadye. Therefore he says, so though the scriptures may say etc. the last moment if you do, but that is going to be almost impossible as I see. Therefore, adhyaivatvatpadaninayoho. Tamil or part of the Tamil. Appode kippode solli vaitte kaapaathunum. And the Mari he says, today, adhyaivatvatpadaninayoho arpayami antaratman atmanam me. This antaratman is a beautiful usage. So you are the person who is actually dwelling in me. So antaratman. So through your own blessings, atmanam me sahaparikarai adrikanyadhinatha. Adrikanyadhinatha. Adri is mountain. Adri, Venkatadri, Narayanadri, Vrishabhadri, Vrishadri, Mukhya. Adri Kanyadhinatha. So that is how here he is addressed. Naham bodhum Shiva tava padam. Hey Shiva, tava padam. Bodhum naham. See here, in fact, he uses various words. Kriya, Yoga, Charya. If you look at some earlier verse, he was saying different people approach through different means. See, some people do through yoga, some people do through archa, some people do through charya, some people do through jnana. In fact, these are 4 different branches. See, jnana, yoga, charya, kriya, etc. Agama Shastra. So, nakriya, you can interpret in both ways. Nakriya, yoga, charya. So these are going to be impossible in those moments. Naham bodhum. Moreover, he can even confess that I am not even trained in this. Even if you are trained, you may not be able to do it. If you are not even trained, so then you will never be able to do. Kartum shaknom yanitaragatihi. Na itaragatihi, anitaragatihi. I do not see any path for myself. Therefore, I totally surrender unto you. Kevalam mam prapadye. So we'll stop here. So we are able to enjoy at least some 8-10 verses of this. This is a very beautiful poetry, which, as I told you, has come out of a certain state in which he was not even under this. So that is the way he has really trained himself, wherein the bhakti is simply outpouring. So that is a complete surrender that you will see, and therefore it is called Atmarpanastuthi. I completely surrender myself unto you. So that is the stotra, and this, as I told you, is also called Unmatta Panchasha. And so finally, before we give this Pundarika, so I was quite delighted to see that there is a plan, to note that there is a plan to expand this temple. So I was shown that there is a place which has been looked into nearby. So I only wish the Ajishthanam Tatha Karta Karanancha Prathagvidam Vividhasya Prathak Cheshtaha Daivan Chaivatra Panchamam. So this is how Bhagavad Gita says for any undertaking to have a successful completion. So Ajishthanam Tatha Karta Karanancha Prathagvidam. So there are various people who have been supporting this kind of a rural activity. So there is some person who is instrument in doing something, and of course the divine blessing is there. So that is what is called Daivam. So that is there, and all of us should try to contribute towards something which is noble, which is happening in our own surroundings. So we may not be able to reach somebody who is in Somalia. So we may not be able to reach someone who is in Nepal-UP border. But at least in our own surroundings we should try to do. In fact, the resources that we have, there is a beautiful verse in Niti Shatakam. I'm reminded of that. So all the resources that we are able to procure for ourselves is by some sort of a grace. It's not necessarily that a person is rewarded in consonance with what he is capable of. So by virtue of being somewhere, by virtue of some luck, we are blessed with far more resources than what we even deserve. And there are so many people who deserve 10 times more than us, but they don't get. So this is how things are in the world. And once we have these resources, so he says, there is a nice verse in Aryavruta. Dhanam Gogo Nashaha Tisrogatayo Bhavanti Vittasya Yo Nadadati Nabhunte Tasya Tritiya Gatal Bhakti. So the best way to share resources is to share it with somebody, some cause which is really noble one. That is Dhanam. It can be Vidya, it can be Samaya, it can be Dhana, it can be something else. But that is what has to be done. So if you can share your time, you do. If you can share good words, you share. If you can share some resources, you should share. So that sharing is essentially caring. So Dhanam Bhogaha. The next is, in fact, it is only by doing Dana we really have Bhoga. Bhoga is, if you thoroughly analyze as we saw before, so immense satisfaction. This pleasure is temporal satisfaction. So, Bhogaha. And if you don't do either of them, Nashaha Tisro Gatayo Bhavanti Vittasya Yo nadadati nabhunte tasya tritiya bhavati. So that is how scriptures train us. In fact, if you look at one of the most important things which I see when I travel around and try to think about it is, if I look at the way my grandfathers or great grandfathers have streamlined their resources, it is in such a way that you try to utilize the minimum for yourself and try to save it for a larger cause. So this is something which I do not see, and this is something which has to be taught, which has to be learned. So why should I do is the kind of question that arises to many of these people who have not been trained in this samskara. So this is a great samskara which has been transmitted to us. For you try to be as conservative as possible when it comes to making use of resources for yourself. So I find my grandfather thinking for 2 paise, 3 paise, 5 paise when it comes to making use for himself. On the other hand, just to encourage a person to study Veda, he used to give 5 rupees. For a temple, he will give 500 rupees. So they will live with minimal food, they will live with minimum comforts. This is something which we need to learn. So nowadays what is happening is, I see, just because I have resources, I can demolish my house and build one more house. So I will be so happy to spend $5 million for my house. So that is how people try to, this is mine, to really look at what is yours. It is just a thought. So these are things which are such samskaras which we imbibe only by the genius which has been developed by a civilization. It doesn't just come like this. Everyone would have thought in various ways, but finally you come up with certain things having contemplated long while. And finally you come up with certain gems to share with others. So that is what all these scriptures are all about. Even devotion is something that is recommended. It is not for promoting something, marketing something. It is something which has been realized by these people, and they felt that this is the kind of thing that we need to share. And Appayya Dikshitendra, as I told you, he is someone who has transcended all these things in his life, be it Sahitya, be it Vedanta, and finally he has surrendered himself unto this Ishvara. So Jnana, when you think of, if you read Parimala, you will be really astonished. And the one who thinks of Advaita and who is able to present to you at that level, if he ultimately composes this Atmarpanastuthi, it means something. And therefore, these are very, very important texts which we need to preserve. I understand that there are a few arrangements done here for making these children engage. So Ananta Krishnan, whom I met in New Jersey, so heard that he is conducting some classes. For us to appreciate the beauty of this, we need to learn Sanskrit. Whether it is Bhagavad Gita, whether it is Ramayana, whether it is Stotras, whatever we render, Vinayaka Ashtakam, so Vinayaka Pancharatnam, Bhaja Govindam, whatever we hear, if you are able to have a sense of what is being done, mere chanting, so mere listening gives us happiness, no doubt. So that is the beauty of this language. So that is the beauty of the way it is being rendered. But more charm can be experienced by us if we pick up a little bit of it. So we need not become masters. All of us cannot become masters in various things. But if we at least train, if we give the opportunity to young children, when they can pick up something, we should try to do our best. Later, I mean, we may be doctors, we may be engineers, we may be accountants, but there is something which is needed for ourselves, all above. So that is where these help us. So I would strongly recommend people here to make use of the arrangement that is being done here. And I also thank you for giving this opportunity to spend 1.5 hours thinking of something which is beyond these worldly things. Thank you. Hara Namah Parvati. Oh, so some experiences of World Hindu Congress, he says. See, this is an event which we attended. So even Satisha was there, Shanmukha Jivacharya. Just before we arrived here today morning, so for the past 3 days, this World Hindu Congress, as I see, is a certain movement which has started to just collectively understand the strengths of our civilization. So Hindu as a term refers to a certain cultural identity. So a certain civilization which has developed in a particular fashion, which has developed a certain thought process in a particular fashion, which is reflected in some of these scriptures, is what is called Hindu. So here, though we may be spread in various places, the genes do not change so easily. So we may be relocating ourselves to various places, but certain things which have been transmitted to us, they do get lost because both factors play a role. One is association, the other is what you gain through your genes. So both play a role. So here a certain collective effort has been made to address various issues which is being confronted by us. And I was much pleased to see that there are almost 2,500 participants from 60 countries. It's a great effort which has been taken by these people. And I was also pleased to see various people trying to do their best in their own domains. And only when we meet people, we come to know the kind of efforts. Otherwise, I mean, we are dispersed, engaged in various activities. That was a beautiful platform which was created. And I came to know several sadhus. Almost the participants, as I heard, were from 60 countries. So someone from Malaysia, someone from Morocco, someone from Sri Lanka, someone from unknown island, someone from Suriname. So there are various people who assembled there, and it was a fantastic experience to get to know of various people working towards various causes. There were also various tracks in which it went. 7 tracks were identified. So I was in the education track, and there is something called media, etc., etc. So it is a great movement, and the next event, so is planned to be in Bangkok, Thailand. So this is the second World Hindu Congress which was organized by these people. And there is one called Swami Vijnananand. So he seems to be the driving force behind it. And this person was never trying to project himself. So this is one of the aspects. The only thing that he did in the inauguration was Shankadvani. That was again a remarkable thing. He did it for almost more than a minute. See, it is not easy to do the Shankadvanam. So that is again a traditional way of commencing something. So that he did. And finally, to honor somebody, he came to the stage. So This is one more thing which we need to learn, not to project oneself. So this is a great virtue. It was a great learning. Thank you for
Thank you.
asking me to say something.
Respected satsang, we are really blessed to hear to Anna. All of you, it's like, like Vyavaharika Satya, Pradivasik Satya and Paramarthika Satya. So to move from here, the Vyavaharika Satya to the permanent, the truth of Lord Shiva, these are the ways. Like the GPS system tells us, you turn right, turn left, and even if you're wrong, again it says rerouting, and it tells us right route. Likewise, God comes in many ways, and Guru, his father was my Guru, and he's also I've learned under him also. More than learning, I've had food with his mother. Mami, whenever I go, I take food, and that food is filled with, like energy, the Vedic chants, very big Veda parampara. And for modern, our younger generation, he explains in the way our younger generation understands, and he's a professor from IIT. Many of you must be knowing about him. I don't have to tell more about him. But more than that, the charity, what he said recently, a few weeks back, he dedicated a school. Mami and himself, they went personally, dedicated a school near Tirunelveli, a remote place where lots of things are taking place. They have dedicated a school for poor children there. And even there was a president awardee also, and the money that was, the Sanmana that was given to him, he had dedicated for Swami Dayananda Saraswati Ekal school project. Many things actually, you won't like to be said, but to tell you, because to tell something and to do the same thing, it's something very Mahatma. It's a Mahatma, and we are all blessed. I once again thank Bhattarji, because by last time also in December he was here, and they requested for his love and for all your love. He has come down there again on behalf of the temple and the congregation. We request you whenever you come to US, and in fact you should stay for Saptaha, and Navaha also should be done on many topics. We are waiting, Anna. We are waiting. Thank you very much. He has been seeing me for more than around 30 years, from 1992. Thank you. I'm more 83, 84. From 82, I didn't know him very well. Thank you. On behalf of the congregation, I thank you. Thank you. I request Anna to give the Agama book we have published now, Sukshma Agama. We have 28 Shaiva Agama. Shaiva Agama talks about the methodologies to experience the truth that has been said in the Vedas. So Agamas, 28 Shaiva Agamas. One of the Shaiva Agamas, Sukshma Agama, which we have published along with the French Institute. I request Anna to give to him. Anna, நீங்க கோவிலுக்கு அண்ணா நீங்க ரெண்டு பேர் வாங்க ஒரு நிமிஷம் வாங்க அண்ணா I request on behalf of our trust to give to our Boston Sri Kalikambal temple. I request President Mangalam and Pradhan Acharya, please. Anna, நீங்க Sukshmagama part 3, we will be getting the part 4 also. ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். அண்ணா நீங்க
या देवी मधुरा पुरीशमुखी मया परा चिन्मयी मीनाक्षी मलयध्वजस्य जने जादाग्निकुण्ठात्पुरा वक्षोजत्रे संविदा प्रतिदिनं प्रत्यङ्गदा सा शिवा माणिक्याञ्जनभूषणे प्रसिदा कुर्यात् सदा मङ्गलम्
नमस्कार. Mother Vadyar Mami, she speaks around 12 to 13 languages. Any language, multi-faceted personality, and any service also, service oriented. They don't just speak. there is any issue, they will go there and.
வா அமிர்தவாணீஸ்வர் வா சரி வாங்க
எல்லாரும் சத்சங்கம் சேர்ந்து போட்டோ. நீ வாங்க, நீ பக்கத்துல
வாங்க.
நீங்க வாங்க.
சொல்றாதா
நீங்க அண்ணா. Thank you.
அண்ணா அடிக்கடி வர வேண்டியது இங்க.
one minute. One minute.
அண்ணா tomorrow morning is leaving to Chicago again. Just one day, luckily, we got this.
We met in 2010.
Oh,
Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad.
Based World Association.
எல்லாரும் வாங்களேன் please.